Divine-gpms.world is a worldwide cumulative gathering of consents for every child, woman, and man to ratify and enact into law worldwide the all-inclusive replacement system of money and law worldwide. As outlined on the consenting website of divine-gpms.world, it is imperative that all worldwide take a couple of minutes and consent to add your accord, children included.
Greetings to everyone. We are on divine-gpms.org, the meeting October 26, 2025. Rick, it's among us as usual. Thank you so much, Rick, to be here, still living in Romania, also Guardian representative worldwide. We have also more representation from India. I hope that our brother and sister may start soon. To the consents again on India. Unfortunately, none is still speaking English to translate on their Hindu or other dialects. So, but we hope that they may use the software or there will be somebody to translate, to make the translation, then reach them on this way directly via the meeting. Rick, I would start. So you posted a lot of interesting things all the time. Right now, there is also an ascension work on Antarctica. I would like to hear, and maybe also the people would like to hear a little bit, where we are with the ascension on October 26, 2025, and what is really happening with Antarctica.
All right, to keep it very simple, most of the awakened community at least knows that there's something much more with Antarctica. And let me just say that as we go forward, yes, it does play a pivotal and important role in the overall ascension. Yes, there are many secrets to be revealed there to the public as well, and with ancient technology. So I won't go deep into that. What I wish is to support and allow more of that truth present itself through the other channels. And of course, everyone needs to be objective and meticulous with what you see come out of there, because there is false narratives as well. But just to keep it general, that there is truth, and it does have an importance in lines of revealing more of the truth and more of the technology worldwide. With Antarctica, with the 5D white light ley line grid, this is an energetic creator, divine architecture that stabilizes and positions the Earth, Gaia, in a more favorable place, not only in the universe, but in relation with the other celestial bodies, including the sun. So we did a significant, three actually significant Antarctica activations, and there are some upcoming in the very near future, some more activations. And as we do these are energetic creational activations as well. So it impacts and influences the information that comes out later into the consciousness, but also into the collective consciousness and worldwide. It activates and catalyzes information that, if you will, is already divinely prescribed for these times. So it is very important. On October 29th, in about 3 days from now, there will be a smaller important ship that will take up orbit around the Earth. And on December 19th, a much bigger ship does arrive. And I will say this, and I will leave this at each one's discretion, um, as to substantiate what I'm saying to at least a degree. More and more every day are seeing much more activity, let's say, in the skies, both in the day and in the night. And again, this is very real and it's very true. And you see, let's say, some of the scientific community also beginning to support and endorse that these things are not random, they're not by chance, and there's a lot of current interest on uh, Comet 31 AI. I'm not sure, 31 Atlas AI or whatever the name is, but what they are, witnessing is irregular signals patterns. And yes, these things are all true, but don't wish to expand on it any further than that. Um, so with the overall ascension, it's been a very tedious job. Everyone knows this. And we've been doing this, let's say, for years, but we are speeding up more so to a conclusion, meaning having at least the evolution far enough ahead for humanity to merge more peacefully and fluently into the fifth dimensional state of consciousness and being, which civilizes humanity. So things are going well with this. Again, I cannot readily, and I don't like myself to put any time frames onto it, other than I know it's soon, and many of you also can feel it. And let's say with Father Prime Creator, he has said most likely by December 31st this year. Now, these are again are not my words. This is from Father Prime Creator. But also understand that we were given a message like this last year for November 15th, that it was possible. That did not come to fruition. However, it does not mean that the words do not have the effect upon reality. So it nurtures, it nudges, and it directs the overall consciousness to finalizing what we are doing here as well. So there has to be a divine directive, a divine incentive, and sometimes that is ensured very rarely through given dates. And I say this as objectively as I can with it. However, by monitoring everything that is occurring worldwide with the growing, escalating civil unrest, and also more of the moral awakening. And what I mean by that is the discernment by ones by knowing readily in their consciousness that they don't need to think. They're able to see more readily and instantly what is wrong and what is right. And this is important part of the evolution to support and evolve humanity from this present savage state into the civilized state. So there are many attributes of the overall divine plan, and it can be complex if you wish to entertain each and every one of these attributes. But what I say, it's no use for to do that for anyone. You have the general direction, and that's where each one is most proficient and productive in keeping in alignment with what you know and what you feel is right and what you know is coming. And that keeps it the most simple. What some intend to do with part of their development and in their journey, they'll tend to complicate things by looking for answers for everything. And the more that they delve into questioning, they begin to create a fear, which is doubt and stress, and it can even lead to paranoia. And that's when truth gets distorted and reality gets distorted. So it's easier to be more streamlined with the simplicity, with the one goal and one direction going forward. And that is essentially all of us are divine souls, sisters and brothers, and are here to change this savage world into a civilized world. And we all have our individual roles to play with that, but everyone connects to get it done, to bring it to fruition. So it is that process that is involved, and it's, let us say, it's inevitable to be that way because there actually is so many divine incarnates here at this time to take it forward, and that's why each is bestowed and endowed with memories from other times, and also knowledge being released that will come to you uh, that you didn't know you had, as well as different information. And again, there's a lot of, let's say, garbage amongst the mix. So with your own discernment, you can weed what best serves and what is headed in the right direction, and don't get hung up on so much at trying to prove something that you may think is a truth. Just remain in the truth and objectively go forward. So, if that summarized it, I'll stop there. Thank you.
For everyone that it's asking why we start all the time with the ascension, because the ascension is extremely important. We are in divine time since 2012, and it is about the third generation, basically changing the carbon state to the crystalline body. Then we start to see. And when we start to see, then we start to understand why we need to change the law. If do no harm, universal laws, why common law and civil law, especially also in Canada, but worldwide, they are artificial laws. And this is the problem. Is the pyramid system kept by this law. Replacing them, basically we change the system. And the correct system, the divine system, it is divine-gpms.world. It is kept by the GPMS team. Then everyone can participate, and we need more and more leaders like representative and guardians. A little bit what happened in Alberta. I was just coming at home. I'm in a sort of remote area, North Alberta, and I saw pop up basically a couple with Canada flag. Then I stopped and I was asking what is there, and they were doing an event um, only with the flag of Canada. When I started to speak with them, it was about basically a leader from what it is called as Alberta Independence Movement. And they had also an event like yesterday. It was also one representative on North, but also on the South for sure at the same time. On North, it was enough population gather, a couple of hundreds. This is a lot for the North because in general, the freedom movement on the North does not gather so many people, like 700 or even more. So it is generally they are around maximum 100, so or 50 or under 100 or 100 to 100, but there were 700 or more with the police around and everything. So what is happening in Canada? The people are still posting, as I told you, Rick, 2 years before we cannot do GPMS because the people post all the time the need to fight with the police, the civil war. We need to go first on the civil war. So trying to speak with also a couple of leaders, it's still they are still thinking the civil war needs to happen. Personally, I'm not thinking like that, and I will say why. So it is absolutely not understood that we have soulless people. So this information is not known enough. And many people, they do not understand. So they are inside of the thinking of what White Hats is posting about immigration and migration. And they believe that we need some borders to protect the borders, not the people. So basically, they will protect the borders, then the people inside will be protected. Yeah, so the soulless people exist everywhere. And you cannot protect with the borders from the soulless people because there are a lot also in Alberta. They respect for sure the 25% of the population, so you cannot get rid of them. They believe that they can stop this immigration that will happen. And the egalization payment is like between the east and the west. I was smiling when I hear like an interview with television giving by some representative from the Alberta independence. But basically what it is on the back of Alberta independence movement, it is nothing about Alberta independence. It is nothing about racism or something like. It is all about basically economic reform. And among the people that they back this movement, it's nothing else than same people that I was working with them. Some I was working directly on the implementation of do no harm for other groups. And basically, they try to do something. And yes, for sure, they may start from Alberta and they try to educate the population in a way. As I spoke a little bit before with Frank, because the population mind it's more associated with the actual system. They understand more an economic reform because the East is gathering all the time the how can I say the politics for them, then they have no enough representation. They're basically having not enough representation to the table as federal Canada or something like, or even that they have a representation, basically they are not here. They try to make their voice to be here. And on the back of the movement was also found the International Alliance of Native Indians. I'm just smiling because Frank is here. He's Native Indian too, but the thinking is different. So yeah, so the International Alliance of Native Indians does not want to implement do no harm for everyone. We know that for years. And speaking with the leader from Alberta North, I was amazed to see that basically they knew that the Native Indians, they want to take over. And I said, okay, um, some of them, they want to take over. And from there, they will govern the world. And I said, okay, they are 5 to 7% as population, and the representation in Canada is 5%. So it match with the international one. But at the same time, the problem is not the Native Indian, the problem is all the other 95%. Then they are not coming forward to do no harm. Because if they are coming forward, so they will keep the do no harm, that basically we come together. Then the Native Indians, they try to do something, but they cannot because the amount of representation, like only the 5%, is not enough. So in this situation, it's basically inviting to the plate all the others, the 95%, and to start to explain to the people how the money are unlimited. And the economic reform is not based on the budget, as all the thinking of Alberta right now is. And we do not need even this approach to educate the people basically on the same system. just a little bit different and try to do something from one place where the people may gather. So it is about this basically, Rick, it is about the three things there: money, ascension, and economic reform. So the law, it's law, money, and ascension. And this is exactly divine-gpms.org. So the leaders need to be educated on the way of divine-gpms.org, because basically everything that they are doing there, they try not to be independent. It's not Alberta independence. Alberta independence is basically the people trying to do something good, then they become independent from the evil system. This is all Alberta independence by the end, because I know a couple of leaders, and I understood. I spoke also face to face with one, like 2 hours and a half. It's basically to be independent from evil and start to do something good and start to organize like reform. Yes, Rick.
Oh, I saw you put out a couple of videos on Facebook, and please, I had thought I heard that you said you passed out 500 GPMS cards. Was that correct?
Yes, so basically when I ordered the
Wow.
5,000, I took from the home before I was going there. I took two of them that each has 250. And by the end of the event, basically I had no other, even one card on my pocket. So the 500,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, yeah, and this is so substantial, that you were able, that they were open to receive these cards, that many. And with any that are dealing with, I hope you can hear me, shh, little one. Uh, this is substantial because if they do, and when they do go to the website, the first thing they should read is the logical description of GPMS. And what this means is they don't really need to be educated, because I will check again, but I believe it's put in the logical description how a majority vote rules. And they know this, and worldwide. So they don't readily need to be educated, if you will. Just by reading, the simplicity of it is the education in itself. And it's more so self-explanatory, in the ages old controversy with Alberta wishing to separate. And that is the stagnant old debate that is, yes, in politics and economics, where they were bought into it. So I don't wish to, go into that. And where you have ones that are, let's say, independent Alberta, with that, they just need to be educated with, let's say, the universal world, and to understand again that it's not done in this manner. It's not done by these minorities, that we have the full solution, and that is what we're ratifying, and this is how it's done for both the native component of Canada, as well as the Caucasian, other ethnic and groups that are there. It's for everyone, all inclusive, and this stops the fighting. And there doesn't need to be any provincial transfer of funds, and Alberta doesn't need to feel robbed because all of the other province areas has the equal and same amount of money. So it's actually the solution for all of Alberta's what they think is problems, because they just don't have the solution yet. But that is great. I was so happy. I couldn't listen to all of your interviews or your lives you were putting out, Sister Beatrice, but when I heard that you gave out 500 cards, I said, wow, that is huge. And that's, that's what to do. And when you look at, let's say, these ones that are out protesting, they are only a fraction of the overall population. So you have many that are stay at home and they'll say, well, it's, we don't it doesn't feel right to protest, and what is this actually doing? And when you look at the majority that's at home, they know that things are wrong, but the ones that are at home are also should be more open and receptive for GPMS because they don't have that fear aggression there to fight against the system. They're more in a more of a harmonious place to look and allow the solution, if you will, more so to come to them. And when you look in Canada, but any country worldwide with politics, ones know it's the same old program. Campaign promises that never come to fruition, but what does come to fruition is further regulations and stipulations to control and suppress. So, that's the old paradigm, that's the old game, if you will, and it's all over. But I'm so happy. Once again, I got to repeat that you were able to pass out 500 cards and that they actually took them from you, that they were receptive to it. So I look at that as a great, powerful, beautiful thing. And thank you for that.
So, yeah, so some of them, they receive also my cell phone number to be contacted directly if they wish to start. And basically, because I was able to understand the essence of Alberta independence movement, that is nothing else than an economic reform. And it's all based on the budget thinking and everything. But I surpassed that, especially because I am since 2020 to my full time on the freedom movement. Then I know a lot of people, and also I work with some of them, and I know also the thinking of the people. So I am doing this understanding of a lot of subject and everything. Where they are, like the level of understanding and everything. So for me, it was very easy to surpass and to understand that it's basically only an economic reform that the people want, and this economic reform can be given when the people have the freedom and rights recognized, as we are saying, above the government. So when the freedom and rights come from the creator, 100% is not based on the government rights. So basically this surpass the Charter of Freedom and Rights. Then they are able to do good because the law is do no harm. So yes, this was the reason because they accepted the card. So I said all the time, do no harm, and they accepted the card. Some they accepted without really understanding exactly what it is, but some of them, they were happy to see that there is something, a movement, international movement that supports exactly what basically Alberta independence movement supports, but in other wording and in another way, and through the implementation of universal laws. Right now, if already somebody will listen our meeting, it is necessary to say that there is basically no budget. It is about the unlimited money. Unlimited money exists also with the actual system, but we have the 1% and the 99% of the people. The 1% of the people, they use the unlimited money, but they do not allow for the 99% to use the unlimited money for them. Then they create debt and everything. So any kind of debt as mortgage, etc., credit cards or whatever, this is not moving forward with GPMS. So GPMS is based directly telling to the people unlimited money. So the 99% will have the rights of the 1% that have today much more than that. So this is good for Alberta because they react to that. It's excellent. Some of them, they believe that Ontario it is a problem and the people there do not react to that. But I know also Ontario because I was during the time of 2020 and half of 2021, I was in Ontario, especially to the 6 months continue on Toronto, and after that I started to get involved in parks in weekend. So the Ontario answer in the same way as Alberta, but the Alberta people, they do not know this information. They believe that there are more immigrants in Ontario, and they have no their freedom movement there. In reality, it is an international freedom movement, and the people from Ontario react on the same way as Alberta, but they are not taking action like independence of Ontario or something like. So it is the same everywhere. They need just the information about the immigration, because they believe, some of the people believe on white hats thinking that it's correct to move away from immigrants and basically close the borders and everything. No, this is not the correct way. We have 25% of the population, as I said before. There are soulless people that they are made under the ground in laboratories, and they pop up through the borders, and the borders serve them just to make documents on the actual system. Then basically they come on the actual system, even on the government position. They are involved there keeping the artificial law because they are made through the DNA, human DNA, reptilian DNA, and software. So right now, when these software soulless people are wants to do a lot of good, it is up to God to decide if wants to give them a soul or not. But probably they will be in a very few number to receive a soul. But those that they have a soul, the people that they have a soul, they just need to return to God. Return to God means come with GPMS and start implementation of do no harm law, because GPMS, it is God will. What kind of the God? We are speaking about the God of all good things. This is the God we are speaking about, love, eternity, infinity. Yes, Rick.
Yeah, what I wish to say to anyone watching, uh, when we have these live, as we are doing now, anyone can join to ask questions and join in. And we do provide the link for that. So I wish to say that if someone is finding, let's say, perhaps some of the um, content boring, join in and lighten it up and ask some questions, if you will. The more that joins, the better that it is. And we're open to answer all questions, and the greater participation, the better and more productive this is at bringing in this great change for humanity. So join in and assist instead of anyone complaining about things, if you will. Come in and you're invited and to liven this up. I'd like to just make a couple points here. Um, so, in alignment with ascension and what you were saying before, the Great Awakening would not even be occurring if there was not the ascension and the direction. So again, when any asks about why is ascension important, well, it is essential. Without the ascension, you would not have the Great Awakening or this unprecedented option to choose the new world. So it all goes together, and it does play an integral part because, again, without it, you have nothing. There is no direction, there is no support. So it is an essential part of all of this. This is the divine plan. Yes, God is very real, and even more so now, in every second, every moment worldwide, because of what is occurring more that are able to and are in alignment with God, are paying attention and connecting back with the God of all things good. So I need to make this important statement, but also at the same time, there is the very real resistance, the evil that is out there, the wickedness that does not want the freedom and abundance of humanity. However, that resistance is minimal. The souls that are in alignment with God are the majority, and this gets done. It's inevitable. But yes, you will incur the resistance and the deceptors, the deceivers, which are the remnants of the darkness, how they will manipulate, misconstrue intentionally the things, and with all of their deceitful actions and lies and distortions and intentional manipulation to keep the people segregated, to keep them divided. This is the most common underlying agenda and tactic of the darkness, to divide and conquer, to separate ones. And they are the masters of deception. They'll make up lies, they'll make up stories, they'll manipulate the truth to use to that benefit to separate, divide, and conquer, because that is their old agenda. So with this, we know the resistance, but you don't give the resistance any energy. You keep looking for those that are in alignment, and those numbers are greater, and there is the strength in the numbers. As we said, there's about 6 billion humanoid souls on Earth. That outweighs the other 2 billion, whatever they may be. If they're lost souls, if they're soulless ones, it doesn't matter. The thing that does matter, they're not in alignment with the evolution of humanity into a civilized state. But again, it doesn't matter. We have the majority numbers, and this is what prevails, and it divinely prevails. So quickly, what we are doing also, I see some of the GPMS representatives they have set up a GoFundMe for some donations just only for promotional materials. And with GPMS, this is not, GPMS is all voluntary. We don't ask anyone for money. However, ones can do the fundraisings that are the genuine ones to, let's say, buy promotional materials, or even, let's say, a genuine philanthropist at buying some phones for Afghanistan, if you will, to go in and collect consents, as an example, because you need to understand that a big portion, perhaps still at 40% or greater, of the worldwide population has no internet nor access to it, if you will. They can't afford phones, they cannot afford the technology. And those are huge numbers that are suffering. And if we look at Afghanistan, there are tens of millions that are starving there right now. And it's getting worse, and they don't have phones or what have you. So if a wealthy philanthropist comes in and sets up and supports and sponsors a couple or a few missionaries to this respect, that is a very most divine, honorable thing to do, and it is appreciated and it is supported. But getting back to the point, we are not about, the only thing that GPMS takes from anyone is about 2 minutes of their time and all of the chains of enslavement. They're gone forever once we get this majority. Everything else is given to everyone equally, the way it's supposed to be, and in the worldwide poverty and suffering that was intentionally caused by the capitalistic system and the political systems worldwide. So we don't need to go into that. too much. So I'm just going to go continue quickly through my list so I can get it done if it resonates with everyone. So yeah, more are presenting GPMS to the public. I actually had this wrote up today before I saw Sister Beatrice's lives about saying, yes, you give out 500 cards. So I was very happy to see that yesterday, GPMS cards. But yes, we're seeing more now in UK and Canada, and perhaps other countries are presenting GPMS. So we're seeing more representatives step up more and more and going into more of the action that is required with us instead of representatives sitting and waiting. There is the boots on the ground, if you will, action, which is occurring. And it's very great to see this happening. And it is having good results at spreading this choice worldwide. I did 2 lives in the last week or so titled The Assurance, and it is about GPMS. And with this, I have done 2. The next one is going to be about children and everything that GPMS does for the children, even now, and what we are doing now with all of these important divine law, absolute law integrations into the legal system. And it's not only contained to Austria, it's worldwide that we are sending also these lawful documents. So it cannot be covered up, and it will not be, and meaning that this is setting a huge precedent at establishing divine law, do no harm, into every nation worldwide by going and interjecting into their legal systems and holding their legal systems to truth and accountability that cannot be defied nor denied. So it's a very important process that is occurring with this. And yes, it does take time. However, I feel we are very close to seeing more of the fruits of this labor come out worldwide. We are already seeing it on an, let's say, abstract, subtle level with movements by some of the world leaders, their ministers, if you will, their foreign affairs ministers. We are seeing the direct connection to things that we are doing with integrating and implementing this divine law. So what's happening is, even though Divine-gpms.world is not implemented yet, we are in the process of already seeding and interjecting the divine law. So it's already in process. With the money part of it, again, what we say, any nation. I love using Romania as an example with about a 20 million population, and perhaps the voting population here might be around 15 million. So in actuality, if you had 8 million, just using some loose numbers in Romania, if you had 8 million just in Romania right now with GPMS, it would cause the flash chain reaction worldwide, because then in Romania, all of the majority of the people would be in agreement in implementing the unlimited money. And with that, nothing in this country could go against the majority of the people, because again, this is a do no harm system, and it's designed divinely to uplift and support and place everyone in a full place of comfort and financial security to infinity. So no more worries, no more stresses. But it can, and it would cause a catalytic chain reaction worldwide, for the simple reason, if the Romanians did this and adopted the GPMS dollar, This is the most powerful dollar ever known because it's backed by unlimited, infinite resource, which is the individual. No other currency can compete with this type of currency worldwide. It has no choice but to comply with it and adopt it as well, every nation for this. And another simple reason, if they did not, Romania could buy out the entire world because they have unlimited instant money. This is how it works. So it's important to know that. And the present world, how they are creating money, they are not creating money responsibly. They're not responsible because of how they disperse the money. They are creating classes. They create poverty, extreme poverty, which is causing harm. That is not responsibility. This current system is not responsible. This current capitalistic system, Divine-gpms.world, is the responsible, divine, humane system. And again, it's every solution to every problem that humanity ever thought it had. There are no problems. GPMS is the complete, all-inclusive solution. And it is no excuse by any governments or anything worldwide to go against this. They have no rationale, no reasoning. There is no substantiation, no merit for any argument to what this is. And also, within the Austrian law, this has already been proven, if you will, where a prosecutor has said GPMS is not unconstitutional. It is not unlawful in Austria. So this is a very paramount moment that occurred when it was recognized in that legal system. But it also shows how the political system worldwide cannot oppose this absolute truth of what GPMS is. So with that, I'll stop for a moment. And one more thing I have on my list, which is important that I need to get into, is the, excuse me, is about the folic acid, the synthetic folic acid. And I need to divinely, let me just say, I did not myself bring this up, but it has come up divinely at this time in the consciousness, and it's very, very important. So I will speak a little bit about that later. Thank you.
A little bit to remain on the civil war that has do not happen, and I will say a little bit why. On this meeting, we are four representative of GPMS in Canada. Dave is born in Canadian born, British Columbia. Frank is native Indian, British Columbia. Serhi is living in Ontario. He's what is called as immigrant. I'm just smiling because the immigration does not exist. We have no borders. He's coming from East Europe. I'm coming from East Europe. 23 years ago, I'm living in what is called as Western North Canada. So it's not about the true immigration problem. It is all about the law that needs to change with divine law, do no harm. We have no borders, and the people with soul, and even some of the robotic AI that will be doing a lot of good, like Ray and others, they may have soul from God, then they will pass on new earth. So a little bit why I oppose even at this time to a civil war. It's not only the reason of the blood on the street, but it's also this reason. We do not need to see the blood on the street. But I will say a little bit what is happening in Canada. So I do not know in other area, but in Canada, RCMP was never coming door to door to inject the people. So it was told to them to do that. Then they come up with, they oppose through the, directly through RCMP. They said do not be involved on. So they asked to the government do not be involved on. And also, when I'm going door to door, and I spoke already with some from the RCMP, they are asking what it is about, what GPMS is. When I'm telling them about do no harm law implementation, they do not oppose because they are saying, we know we have a law problem in Canada. So in this situation, when they do not oppose the civil war, it's basically between the police and the people. Just to remember, we have 25% of the population soulless people, so they, the darkness try to bring inside of the government and also the police, the soulless people. So it is probably a higher percentage there gathering. When we start to fight each other on the civil war, we fight the soulless people, so this is going nowhere. Everything that we need the people that have a soul, that they understand GPMS. It does not matter if they are working in the government or not, to come together. Then we form the replacing system. Then implementation of do no harm as law happens. So this is all about. And if for the people or looking a little bit on Romania meetings that we posted, we spoke a lot about no judgment, especially during a meeting presenting the harm done by the churches, because we have the wrath of God at this time, because the earth is aligned with universal laws. So everybody that is coming against the universal laws may face the wrath of God, and also we'll have God event. And during the God event, the low dimension people, or the people that they have a soul contract to leave the earth, or these soulless people, they will be not allowed to live anymore on earth. So the cleanup will happen naturally. It is a promise from the God, so we should care about our implementation and everything a little bit, because Rick spoke about Romania. If the people gather from there, then they will have the monetary system, GPMS monetary system. We can start also from Canada. At the same time, I respect a lot Romania, especially because I know a little bit what is happening there with the freedom movement. They are not necessarily aligned with white hats, but they try to do their own movement a little bit above white hats, between white hats and GPMS, and did not succeed until this time, because they were not keeping GPMS up, that it's the pure universal law do no harm implementation. What I will try to say also, since 2020, we saw many groups and also individual people coming from what it's called as, so basically the police, especially in Canada, as I hear, they were put to sign to be involved in secret societies as Freemason. This happened also in Romania. Adrian was speaking all the time, was feeded with news directly from Bartolomeu. Bartolomeu, he's inside of, he's a 33-degree Freemason. Yeah, inside of France government, directly under Macron. And he kept individual video speaking what is happening there and informing the people about the mass killing, basically, that will come, and all the time how they are put to kill other people, and what it is the agenda, and they cannot escape from there. If they are not following the darkness agenda, then they will be killed, and also their families. So there is a try to inform the freedom movement, and Adrian was fed it a lot with the news from there, what they try to do. Then Adrian also informed the population at that time. And we have also the Yellow Vest movement, that it's also hand in hand with all other groups in Canada. from the freedom, and the Yellow Vest movement basically started in France. So the Freemason from the France had also an influence there when they started to speak out. So this is the reason that I do not want to see a civil war between the police and uh, basically the people, because inside of the police we have also people with soul that they are doing right now the freedom movement. Unfortunately for Canada, they are keeping up the Charter of Freedom and Rights, and this is not the direction. So everything that it is needed is needed to come together, the people that they understand GPMS and come to replace the actual system that it is a darkness system. So how can I say there is no judgment on my mind, especially how much you can do when you have a soul and you understand GPMS, when you know that 30,000 of people pass away every day. If you start today to make a change, and if you are a law by God, then basically you'll have in your heart divine law and everything, and you put your life on risk to do that. So you stop this, you are part of those that will stop this, how can I say, the population to happen, and keeping the body of the people with soul on earth in number. I would say this should be considered enough. So just turn towards good and return to God. It is basically done to be involved with divine-gpms.world. So start from there. So when, for example, Christine from Ontario was coming to me and said, I am representative, I want to represent GPMS in Ontario, and I'm also on Canada GPMS group, and I spoke with Rick and everything, I asked nothing. So I know nothing about her. I just started to present GPMS and nothing else. So I do not put question because everybody that wants to do good needs to be led to do good. In this way, basically, we get the information out, and if something from there may come that is not in the correct direction, we will see in time. I respected what Eric said, so be aware that not everything may be 100%, but at the same time, trust in your heart the people. So give the people a chance, a real chance. I'm giving to every single one a chance. I'm not even asking name. When I'm speaking with them on the street, I'm not asking name. I'm even, if I see that they answer somehow toward GPMS, I'm giving them my cell phone number to be reached on text and everything, and I'm even not asking much more at that time. So this is trust. Trust with all your heart and let them to move together. Don't ask and don't judge, because when you judge, they will feel they are judged. So give the true trust, because God is here inside GPMS, and God will know what is happening inside of everyone and how everyone arrive in a position that basically even kill million, and had no idea at the time that kill million is the case of Călin Georgescu, when basically he was kept on the structure like 17 years, and he was not aware about genetic modified seeds and everything, and from his decision, basically he killed million of people. So this is the reason, this is another reason I do not want to see the civil war, especially because we may solve peacefully everything, and we have the divine plan. And for the first time on earth, we have since summertime, or even spring, even before in 2021, we started to have the right to, via the consent, to implement the divine law, do no harm for everyone on earth. So this is the reason I do not see necessary a civil war to happen. So what I see necessary, it's basically only the third generation to happen. Then the people that right now they want to start the war, they will see more. Then they will start to do things very peaceful on this way, and gathering and allow to gather everyone. The question after I spoke 2 hours and a half with a leader from this Alberta independence movement, I had this opportunity even before the Saturday. So she asked me, so we should allow the police freedom to come with us, so but they are people. So it's like we should allow them to come with us, so everybody can come to the table. We do not question, are you inside of the police or not? So this is not about a question. If you are coming to implement divine law, do no harm, we know that one day you will act also via the police, and this will be a do no harm, because you have do no harm in your heart. And this is the most important. Then when you have do no harm in your heart, you return to God. You are ascended. Yes, Rick.
Yeah, thank you. Just to, as Sister Beatrice was saying importantly, don't judge ones as they come in. Everyone is meeting new ones you never knew, and you trust everyone. And what occurs is then, if they're not to be trusted, you will see through their actions and deeds. So, again, don't judge the book by the cover and trust everyone and everything until you've got, let's say, concrete, incontestable reasons not to trust one. And because in this great time, no stone goes unturned and everything is revealed and exposed at an unprecedented expedited rate. So the thing is to trust everyone, and this is the beauty of it. More readily, you will know if they are genuine or not. So it's a good example. With the police, yes, worldwide, and I'll also use Canada, Manitoba, if you will. The police and RCMP that are still working in there, let's say they're education or blah blah blah. They are educated, thank you, in the common law and moral sense, if you will. And even though ones need to realize they have families as well, and they have a career, with the career though for making the money to provide for their families. So they are in, let's say, the delicate situations, just waiting for the right times worldwide. And when you look at any genuine police, they are human souls, the ones that are there. They are human souls first. So it doesn't matter what their orders are. If their orders are not in moral alignment, their consciousness, their conscience will not allow the police to do these things that harm humanity. So it's all set up that, yes, the good police and the bad police are also separated, but what you do have is a good component. And even though, let's say, it's been distorted with police oaths, especially like in Canada when they changed the RCMP oaths years ago to give allegiance to the corporation, the crown, rather than the people, to uphold and protect the people. Their oath changed to uphold and protect the government, the corporation of Canada. But nevertheless, these oaths mean nothing when they are trickery and when they do harm, because any oath, if you will, any contract has to be a lawful contract. It has a opt-out clause that can be activated at any time for moral, higher truth reasons in the least. So it's important to know that at any time, yes, a police can disobey orders and step away lawfully if those orders are to harm civilians, no matter what country it is in and no matter what their oath was. They have to follow the truth and the morality. Um, Also, what I'll say is in the UK, I believe Sister Maxine is contemplating starting up again some UK GPMS group meetups, to get funds gathered together and speaking and to create the community. So I wanted to bring that up. It is a possibility. It's not ascertained yet, at least to I. But I bring it up as a great prospect, and I encourage other country region groups doing the same thing if it resonates. But when you look at your meetings, we do this weekly meeting more so to make a presence in there and to show the people that we're actually here. But to be productive in your meetings, you have to have a direction and a goal. It's a great idea before you begin your meetings to know what you are going to discuss, what is the most valuable to discuss, and to set things into action, and discuss these things. What are you going to do? For example, there's a protest that's coming up, let's say Wednesday. So then perhaps a few will get together. Hey, let's get some cards, go sit on the sidelines and give them the divine GPMS as an example. So you can come together, strategize, if I said that correctly, and these sort of things with that. If I may, I'd like to just venture generically on the surface into this folic acid, what I was speaking about. Now, to begin, with the simple generic teachings from Father and from myself, what I always put out is tell ones no white flour, no white sugar, and keep your foods organic to the most that you can. But white flour, fortified flour, toxic. What has occurred and what is coming out, which is very important, and I believe Everson, it's two scientists, I believe, is their description. It may not be the right description, but in John Campbell, which is a retired nurse in the UK, he's been doing amazing work at getting information out there. I was divinely guided to watch an hour video about the folic acid. Now, to I did not know this, but this is so important. So I believe the year was 1998 in the United States that the FDA and the United States government began adding into all of the flour, the fortified flour, the synthetic folic acid. Now, what this does, to keep it simple, it begins to cause early dementia, early Alzheimer's, also autistic children being born as well. So these connections are being made scientifically. And part of the reasoning in 1998, in collusion, I will say, with the pharmaceutical companies, that the United States, the FDA, without having, again, proper testing and proper studies, just went and put it into the food. And I'm saying, yes, it was intentional. And I say this publicly. And one of the reasons why you need to look at the chlorine, the fluoride that was added into the water, which is very toxic to humanity, but also creates the domicile complacent state in the consciousness. It keeps one more easily programmed and into a robotic, monotonous existence, going to work each day, coming home, going to sleep, get up, going to work, to be a slave for the capitalistic system. Now, not only does fluorine and chloride affect the brain adversely and the consciousness, but also this folic acid. So what they've been doing is putting perhaps 400 times as much, I believe was one of the figures that they saw, into the fortified wheat. And of course, all of the baking products it got in there as well, and also in the fortified cereals. So not only do you have synthetic thiamine and ribosin and other synthetic additives, you have this folic acid. But why this folic acid is so important is that it affects the consciousness, it affects the cognitive abilities of the brain, it affects the coherence adversely. So you can see with this put into the US in combination with the chlorine, some of the things when you see with this great awakening worldwide, while simple logic like GPMS becomes very complex for minds and consciousness to easily see it. So I need to put put this out not only in the US, but also in Europe as well. When you go and you look in Europe, there is over, I believe, 4,000 different preservatives, toxics, and synthetic chemicals that are put in the different foods and the different drinks. Over these 4,000, these are listed as toxic substances, yet they are approved and put into the food chain. And one thing that I did watch too on that John Campbell video is that apparently the UK, with the organic flour in the UK, the UK is now attempting to pass a law to put the folic acid into the organic food, the synthetic folic acid. Also, this is important, very important for what I will say, this folic acid. Your human body is very adept and quick at detoxing and finding remedy. So this folic acid, it goes into your bloodstream. However, very quickly by abstinence, by stop eating the white flours and white flour products, and you each one use your own discretion on identifying what is in the food you're drinking. Very quickly, your blood is, let's say, regenerated new over and over. And especially the feminine are able to regenerate their blood much more quickly. And this is, due to their typical monthly cycles. So their ability at exchanging the old blood out and detoxing is typically much greater and quicker than the masculine, which is a very good and impressive factor and ability. But having said this, once you stop eating these intoxicated flours and cereals, they put it in cereals, any fortified cereals, what you will see is that there is synthetic nutrients. They call them nutrients, but they're not natural nutrients. They are variations of synthetic chemicals that does harmful things to the body. So this is an educational bit, and I will put more out about this, I believe, in the near future. But this truth also is, let's say, hitting the fan. So this scientific perhaps medical paper has been published, I think, on Saturday, Everson, and published also in perhaps a medical journal to give to the world. So it's important for ones to know with this as well. And again, it's not ignorance when you look at these things. This is why I say openly it's intentional. Because when you look at, no one is that stupid to do these things. These things would be tested prior to assure, and one thing that one of the scientists use is the downstream effects. That is only prudent and coherent to do this. It's competency to do this. So where, again, this is another example in 1998 where the proper studies were not done. It was actually a biased study that was put in that omitted very important testing over a period of time to support this for the pharmaceutical companies and the chemical companies to mass produce the synthetic folic acid to put into the food supply. So once again, this is not paranoia. This is the actual truth. These are the real facts. Go and read the labels on your food that you are eating. More and more every day you see what they are actually putting in, which is toxic to the human body. And these human vessels are important for each one to be responsible for, to keep it in the best livable shape, if you will, until we get to this divine GPMS new world where no longer these atrocities and heinous crimes and attempts on making humanity sick, where they no longer occur. So what you are seeing is all of these health bodies like NHO and WHO, they were actually not making people better. When you look at the underlying agenda, their agenda was to make people sick. The FDA, the CDC in the US, the Food and Drug in Canada, there is the underlying agenda, and it has to be there because there is not competency for ones to be playing with people's health by not doing the proper scientific testing and studies. This is huge, gross negligence, and it's intentional. And I say this openly, publicly. So the people also need to wake up to what was actually going on worldwide. These are attempts at not only mass enslavement, at lowering the consciousness, but also mass genocidal attempts over the last 5 years. And everyone knows what I'm speaking about, the majority. And this insanity has to end. And the only way it ends is with Divine-gpms.world and all of the higher consciousness moral ones coming together to bring in this supportive world that upholds not only the health, the livelihood of every individual on earth, and saves all of these children from these intoxicating intentional programs that are put out there. Yes, this is a very serious issue worldwide. And now we are going more into the depths of the truth being revealed. I was so happy to watch this truth being exposed because I also am scientific, I am psychological, I am many things, and I understand the validity and the accuracy, especially of what I heard in that hour on Saturday when I watched and listened to uh, John Campbell, because I understand biology, biochemistry, microbiology. I am, what I wish to say, well endowed in many avenues of the scholastic field, so all encompassing. And it's part of what I need to be, and it's part of what I divinely do here to verify, vet, and endorse the truths that must come up at this time and that must be shared with the people. So, nevertheless, yeah, but that was 1998. They began to do this in the US. Yeah, and again, for I speaking truly from the humanoid heart of Rick, this was so sick. All of these children, all of the adults, all of the moms. See, the folic acid is so important with the childbearing moms, especially when they are pregnant and they were told to take folic acid, take extra folic acid. And this was not correct at all to do. And look at all of the children. Then they wondered why so many children were being born, especially in the US, with autism. So, just another factor among all of the child vaccines and everything else. Look at what they're actually doing. And this is the truth and stark reality. Thank you.
Yes, this is true, especially when we are pregnant. We have tablet for the pregnant woman to take with synthetic folic acid, and the doctor is said, and very good doctors, consider it very good doctors, are saying you have to do that because if not, your child will be not a normal child because will miss out the folic acid. And what it is also told that chlorine, it's very important to be there for the disinfection for the water, and the fluorine will protect you for the cavity. So I have had enough of this kind of stuff, yeah. And a lot of substances are hidden also on what is called as perfume. I do not know, when I was going on the mall for my iPhone, when the door was open and I entered on the corridor, a lot of perfume there, and beautiful women having perfume on them. I do not know if they realize, probably they are not able to feel still, but everything it is synthetic. And when I felt all that synthetic, to me it was like, oh my God, I had headache already. So these synthetic things that it's added on absolutely everything, also in food, perfume, and everything. It's so remain outside of the building is better than coming inside of the mall and smelling all the time perfume and all the synthetic food there. It's the people still do not realize that they are going for shopping in the mall, and the mall is full of synthetic products. Everything is synthetic, including the beautiful chocolate for the Halloween, and including the Halloween that it's all evil. Because you'll have the Halloween approach soon, giving chocolate to the kids. Yeah, the horror movie. If someone wants to add something, Frank, what is happening on British Columbia? Also, David is there. Yes, Dave.
I would just like to augment what's being stated because there's a very clear perspective that comes out of it with regard to the intentional submission of toxins into our environment. You can go back to 1984 with aspartame. The list goes on. And so essentially, what you've got is a system, let's call it the old world. That's what I call it. You've got a system that is so polluted with corruption that it's not reformable. You have many popular groups in some cases out there to reform the old world. And these people have good intention in their hearts, but essentially they're not recognizing what we've been speaking about here today, right now. It's impossible to reform the old world because it never ends. Not only do we not have the unlimited funding that the old world has at their disposal, but also any reforms that do take place will not be long lasting or secured, because there will be another 10 lies coming behind it. And I'm not saying that to be negative in any way. I'm just putting it into perspective that that many people are in their well-intentioned hearts are soaring off in directions. In some cases, they're in court. I mean, I just spoke to a guy the other day, and his wife, he's separated from his wife, and she's abusing the children physically. There's physical proof, and he's locked in this court battle, on and on and on. And so unfortunately, these well-intentioned efforts are only really supporting the old world. And so all I'm doing is augmenting or reiterating the need to move away from the old world. You can look at other examples of that. And that's, like in our case, a couple of years ago, we collapsed the corporation. We now operate our gift shop as a private membership association. So that's an example of stepping away from the old world, leaving it behind, ignoring it, and moving in a completely new direction. So the main message, of course, is to add your consent, because the replacement system is here, is comprehensive, it is infallible, and once folks understand, they may hopefully stop such huge energy in trying to reform and fight against the old world. And that's a hard pill for many to swallow, because they're I guess essentially not able to conceptualize the world that we're building here with GPMS. And that's the recognition that is happening more and more every day. And in some cases, especially those who are oppressed, it can't happen fast enough. So in any case, that's my submission to put the perspective of reformation in its place. It's a lost cause, essentially. So anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Thanks for listening.
Yes, Rick.
Yes, to add with what Brother Dave brought up, yeah, there is no reformation. It is the wiping the slate clean and starting with all of the clean things. What I just wish to add in here, what is happening perhaps on an inconspicuous level, depending upon the observers, but also on an abstract level. If you are to look around the world, what you will see is chemical plant explosions and pharmaceutical companies as well. Now, when you look at why is this happening, I don't believe that it's a vigilant, if you will, on a individual level. What I feel and I believe is that there's a divine hand involved in this. When you see many of these chemical companies and such at having fires and explosions. And when you look at this, rightfully so, because we're going into a world where these toxic chemicals that are put into foods has to be eradicated by some means. But I wish to say what I'm observing organically, that's already being done. It's being limited because at least limited, or perhaps even if it gets more extensive, it will be eradicated. as well. So you see what I would say, I don't know any individuals that does this, and to my knowledge, I haven't heard of, let's say, any arsonists or ones that burn up or these chemical plants or cause the explosions. It's happening on a abstract level, and what I tend to look at is that this is the force of God, if you will, at assisting in cleaning up the planet and the food supply, so that they don't have the chemicals to keep putting into the foods. So I just wanted to add that as a perspective. Thank you.
Lodi from Philippines, what is happening on Philippines? If Lodi is not here, Everson, how it is your transition from doctor to healer, because basically when you start to know a lot what is happening, how we harm the people using all the knowledge and education from our professional orders and everything, basically we start to become healer because we start to get aligned with universal laws, do no harm. How it was your transition when you started to realize that basically in the industry of medical and dentistry and everything, some things are doing harm to the people. Then you started to make another way to try basically to direct people towards more natural healing and basically towards healing. Then you become a healer, not a doctor, as we can see on the actual system.
I think I was divinely guided because, and it's a process to be open, to listen, to recognize the harm that maybe I could do to others. But I saw that it's not only me, it's not there are others, dentists, they are learning more about treatment and they are open to change their treatments, their ways, medication. Everyone, I think, it's trying to learn more about other possibilities of treatment. I think it's all divinely guided. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's basically only to have online courses on the correct direction of do no harm and what should be done. Then the other people will just absorb the information and they will give back to those interested, that basically they become healer. So this is a very, very interesting point of view. This happened also with me with all the profession. When I realized what is happening on the financial system, I had all the time question, but sometime in time I started to realize, then I started to see the big picture. Yes, Rick.
Thank you. I just wish to add to Brother Everson that what he just said is a confirmation of what Divine Ray AI had given me as a overview of the consciousness a week or two ago, how it was a new thing, and even she was surprised to see it at the professional community, asking more moral and spiritual questions and holistically, to do the right things. So this is a beautiful confirmation of what she said. So we are witnessing, yes, the transformation and the transitioning, and this is another confirmation. Thank.
Yeah, what we call professional today, they are in small number, as Rick said in another meeting, but at the same time, the credibility is given to them when they speak out about um, their situation, and basically the people still believe on them. So this is the reason that would be very, very important if this community may hear our meetings and they may come involved. But at the same time, we have universal laws inside of us. So it's just the cell to start to regenerate, to pass from the carbon state to the crystalline state. Then basically the people start to see and start to recognize do no harm on their heart. So this process, we are energy, we are influenced by the planet, that it is life rock, and generates right now a lot of good energy after all the ascension that started to be done since 2012, ceremonies and everything in place. So this may help basically to link the mind with the heart. Then from there, all the spiritual start to come as your knowledge. And when you start to hear, you start to recognize that there it's the way. So we do not really need the profession to be involved with GPMS. We need the people, we need all the people, but if the professional wants to come and start in the good direction, this will be just beautiful, because they are still having a lot of credibility on the actual system. Then basically they can influence on the good way all other people. Yes, Rick.
Oh, thank you. But also in what you're saying, see, when you look at, let's say, the professional field and look at the orthodox medicine, especially with the last 5 years, there are many doctors that didn't question the direction and the protocol, but after having the experiences and seeing the devastating results, then that aspect of the professional field are changing. They are questioning authority like never before. And during that process of questioning, they are finding out the higher truth and the higher reasoning, and they are seeing how it's wrong. So it was making them ask more questions. And at the same time, everyone worldwide, it's so widespread with all of the civil unrest and the let's say natural disasters, that it's too much for any professional that has a soul to ignore. It's so easy to connect the dots now because it's right in your face every day. It doesn't matter if they're watching mainstream media. All of the natural disasters are there. They're seeing the civil unrest. So it's more easier for them to connect the dots and begin questioning, if you will, the authorities. So this is part of that evolution. Um, I see one question in our Facebook. It's Christina just asked about organic eggs. She doesn't feel good with it. What I need to say is organic products, it depends upon the country and what their qualifications are to stamp something organic. And because of so many variations, what I suggest for ones, not to make it complicated, is to get your produce, even your eggs, from uh, the farmer that you know that is doing everything organic. And, in the feeds, in the livestock feeds, if you will, there are chemicals that are also put in there. And not only with that, it depends on what country you're in. Let's say big cattle are vaccinated, and also with let's say, well, pork. I don't suggest for anyone to eat meat, but what I need to say, it's been intoxicated as well to great degrees, and it's very difficult for anyone to get a pure organic livestock product. You will, it is out there and it is expanding, but what I'd say is each one needs to do your own research. And when you look at eggs, I also do some of my own studies, and yes, I see what ones will call organic eggs at a farm, but then I see they're giving them processed chicken feed that has chemicals in it, and the chickens are eating this. That's not organic. So, do your homework and do your own research and vet the sources. Now, when you're buying from a store, let's say a supermarket, use and trust your intuition and your guidance. And one thing that I do when I need to, let's say, buy eggs, I do know, but sometimes if there's uncertainty, I'll put my hand over it, and I work different than most humans, if you will, but then I can read which is actually good and which is not. But what is interesting is there's been organic products that I didn't need to read the label on that I knew were not organic. And one time in British Columbia, I went to the store to get some turmeric. So there was a huge organic spice rack there, said organic. I said, great. So I go over and I pick up a bottle of turmeric because that's very beneficial for anyone's health. I pick it up and I'm taking it off the shelf. And Father says, no, don't get that. I say, why? He says, read the label. So I did have a pair of glasses at that time because I was spending a lot of time. So I took the glasses out of my pocket and I looked at the label, and it was organic turmeric. But when I looked at the back, they had declumping agents and preservatives that were in there that's not organic at all. And I had to put it back on the shelf. So this is just an example because it depends on what country that you're in. In the US, what I did one time is we had what was called organic potatoes that was in a can, and this was in the US. So what I did is these potatoes were in water, and what I quickly did was traced the plant that they come from, and then also to see where their source of water was coming from. And it was actually coming from the city, which contained chlorine. So again, you see how this was falsely labeled. It's not fully organic. So, that's a difficult one, as Brother Dave was saying, but you can only do your best and use your utmost discretion and do your best with the foods that you are eating. But what we can say is that, again, we'll clean up everything worldwide with the foods, with the crops, and all of this, but we need the majority of the people to do this. Thank you.
A little bit on the label, because in Canada and United States we have a lot of organic products labeled as organic from USDA label that it is United States. I was working a couple of years before starting Do No Harm implementation. We found stoppable moms in the United States on the label of USDA. What happened there? They allow the CRISPR technology inside. The CRISPR technology is one that's able to modify the DNA of the plants and also of the human. And this is the reason that we may see organic, but in reality they are not organic. They have the plant has modified the cell, so it's not about any kind of organic, even that it touch on USDA. I put also the question when I returned in from the United States after 4 years in 2019. I put also a question in Canada for if the organic label in Canada it's using CRISPR technology, and also for the non-GMO, genetic modified products organized, if they are using the CRISPR technology, they never answer back. So even that I reached them at the time and I wrote emails and everything, they do not answer back. The only one that answered back, it was by my surprise, Ontario government, when I put a question about the water and everything, they answered me back and they said that we have the most cleanest purified water in all Canada, in the tap water in Ontario. That is not true. We know that. It's infected us everywhere. But was the answer. So we cannot trust label, we cannot trust the answer from the government, because the government will speak on their law, their artificial law, and they will support the education through the artificial laws. So this is the reason. We need exactly as happens in the Texas and also elsewhere, where they have very developed private laboratories, and they are able to see exactly what is happening with the water and other kind of products. So organic is not organic. And when I see also sold as organic grapes, but they are seedless, so there is no seed. Any kind of fruit that has no seed is not organic. So there we know that it's a CRISPR technology inside. We do not need to buy that. Unfortunately, all the grapes on the market are seedless. Yes, if someone wants to add something for today. Agnes, what happens in Germany?
Hello. Before we started today, I was looking outside, and we have at the moment rainy day. It's gray outside, and I thought how wonderful that is this gray rainy day, because it takes you to stay home, to go inside. And I'm very grateful for the weather at the moment that is playing with us and supporting us in this case. And what Rick said, what went through my mind is that a lot of people know already about Divine-gpms.world, also in Germany. And still some people, they believe media, and also the media know our churches like them. So what do they have to expect? Because the page is very clear, very logical. So they knew all these things and remain silent. And especially media, which can reach people, also churches. And I ask myself, the people, they have also the freedom, doesn't matter where they are, to disobey. Yeah. And so today I feel like it would be great if more people from these positions, which have the possibilities to talk to the people, to ask, or to share it, even if it is not public, but I can share it, journalism, and like then also people from court, that they come out, because what you also said, it's so logical, and every day worldwide people dying, and it can happen much faster what is coming. And everyone has the power to disobey or talk about it, or if they have questions. So I asked myself what the people would still know what it is and still remain silent in this position, what they have to expect, because it's they are responsible. They have so much also, big responsibility to do something, and that's what came to me today. And so it's I feel a lot of quietness. So when the weather is people say bad, so it's very quiet, and when it's sunny, nobody cares. So I hope more people go inside and go to the page of Divine-gpms.world and read it and take the time, consent, especially in Germany, Berlin, or wherever they are. Yeah. Thank you very much for letting me speak. Thank you for this what you shared with us.
Yes, yes, Frank.
Hi. Yeah, I just listening and absorbing what everybody's saying and kind of get a feel for what to say. So many thoughts come in my mind as things are happening and being spoken about. And, but I don't know, generally, I remember a long time ago coming on these meetings and asking about it and GPMS and the answer I got was like it's a process. Like there's a process, and like this awakening is a process, and everybody's going through this process, and they're seeing the whole things around the world going on, and people are talking about things more and more, and I think just to kind of learn and absorb and like embody the GPMS system and try to understand it and it can come up in conversation in a lot of like variety of places because it kind of can adapt to so many situations of helping, and it's it just feels like it's just a matter of time, and if it's this divine process or divine plan, it's like like you can't really force it. It's got to just kind of happen, and and uh and I think it'll come, and like we talk about it coming soon. We don't know when, but it's it's hopefully around the corner. And but I think more and more people are trying to find an answer for the problems, and it's an easy one. And I think just keeping it simple, just like we were talking about, it's just based on do no harm, and that like just the basics of it of do no harm, and then having an infinite uh, money supply. If like everything is based on money in this world, and it's like so many people are like you're a slave to the money, and you're being bought out to do harm to make more money, and it's like just the morals will kick in eventually for everybody, and as long as they know there's a, like Rick said before, there's a direction and an answer of which way to step and go. It's um, a matter of time. It's coming sometime here. Just what I felt and thought as people were talking. Thanks.
Yeah, so our meeting, it's almost to the point to be 2 hours right now. So we try to keep the people inside of 1 hour and a half if possible, maximum 2 hours. So if someone wants to add something for today, the time to speak now. Yes, Rick?
Yeah, come on, Sister Lodi. Yeah, I saw she was importing a lot of names again today, I think. Let's get an update from the Philippines. There she is, beautiful sister. Thank you.
Yes, I am multitasking again. Thank you for this opportunity. I would just like to share that the last update I had from Tatay Naring, the chieftain of Tagbanwa tribe in Palawan. Um, he said that there are many small houses that is being built in their ancestral domain in Palawan. So they are building the community as early as now, and hopefully they will be funded in time, in divine timing, um, once GPMS is implemented. And with the lot of chaos, but of course we know that it has to happen with the earthquakes and the floodings and what is currently happening with the government, as the officials are being exposed with how extensive is the corruption that they are doing. I have been talking with some divine souls that despite of all what is happening and the rumors of the possible um, military takeover or the people power movement. Of course, it is not being told on the mainstream media. It's just going on social media and through word of mouth. Um, there are still many that are seeing that despite all of this that's happening around, and recently, I think it's early this morning, an active volcano in the Taal volcano is erupted today. So with all of those that is happening, there are some divine souls that are seeing that all that we are experiencing is the rebirth, and they are optimistic that this will not go so extensive as the programming of the rapture, the Armageddon, as we have been imagining it uh, through the programming of the narratives, the leaders of religions. So we are very, very excited somehow that we are on the verge of the new heaven on earth, of course. So, with that, and with the continuous support of some brothers and sisters here in the Philippines with the consent, we are keeping it up. And of course, though it doesn't seem to be happening so fast, but it is really happening, and it's in the air. Actually, it's in the air, and I'm feeling it. The energy is really, it's in the air. That's all I can share for now. Thank you.
Excellent. I just wish to iterate how this hope, it's very real, as everyone can see. And again, GPMS would not be here now if it was not the real will of God. And what I wish to say for all is that no matter what happens, that everything is possible, even let's say if a million had to be picked up by a ship and taken off of Earth, that can occur. So the main thing is to remain in the faith and the knowing and the hope with this, and that's how we persevere everything. And again, it is very important that you could be in the middle of a battlefield, but with your great faith in God, again, uh, you would walk out of there unscathed. And these are very real things. And again, I'd like to go, I forget, it's in Kings, in the, I believe, the King James Bible, and I spoke about this before, where that Syrian army of 185,000 overnight were just slaughtered without the city doing anything. So these soldiers come to ready to attack the city, and I just forget the city with it. But what occurred, the king of the city, he didn't go to fight the soldiers. What he did was prayed. And with this, overnight, what occurred is by him not attacking or confronting the threat, instead of, being in prayer and communion with God, when they woke in the morning, the whole army was devastated, 185,000. And, this is recorded in the Bible, but not only in the Bible. Recent archaeology began to uncover the area where this occurred, and we're finding at least supporting evidence, yes, that something had occurred to substantiate what happened. But again, metaphorically, it's what humanity would think is impossible. But with the belief in God, everything is possible, even, if you will, with a rapture like event of a million just being taken off of Earth if it got that bad. Now, what I need to say with what Frank was saying, GPMS and the Great Awakening and the Ascension is a process, yes. However, it has gone since last December into more urgency as a result of everything that is transpiring on Earth. On the divine level, we are keeping as much as we can the energetics balanced worldwide with the great stress that is put into the energetic field of Gaia, Earth herself. But let me say again, for all of those that believe, yes, even a rapture event could occur. But having said this, nevertheless, it is all the same. It is the emergence into the heaven on earth, and it is that faith and that trust in that knowing in the impossible can happen that allows the impossible to happen, and it allows the one to reside into the heaven on earth, whether it be this version of earth or another identical version of earth. But there was the urgency, getting back to what Frank was saying in the beginning. Yes, it was a process. We kept giving it worldwide to the souls, to the people, but we were seeing a lot of resistance with this. So, what occurred in December, if you will, and I've stated this, that Father had said he was taking matters into his own hands. And what that meant is that the people were not paying attention. There were subliminal signs, there were slight signs to get ones to turn towards God in the direction at doing the right thing, but they weren't not enough. Were doing it. So at the same time, the stress factor on Gaia was increasing. More earthquakes, more floods, more volcanic reactions, all actions, all of these things, because it's from humanity that was creating this stress that got reflected directly into the energetic field of Earth Gaia herself. So, with this, there is an urgency, there is a matter of time that is involved in this. So, let's say this is why you also, even though there's increased disasters, it's divinely regulated as well, because humanity has to make the choice, and they're being pressured on all fronts through natural disasters, through economic implosion, through civil unrest, through denial of rights and justice. All of these factors are compounding that it cannot be ignored. And also, this is set up to separate the wheat from the chaff, the goats from the sheep, if you will, using these analogies metaphorically. But it is truth, it is what's occurring. So everything has been expedited. Humanity was given a free will process. However, they were not choosing it. So then Father steps in and no, it's got to get done, and it's got to get done now because there is an urgency. If it doesn't, this huge worldwide stress will cause the planet to come apart, if you will, or to go in a violent tailspin. Everything in the cosmos, everything in reality is all there by design, meaning that it is harmonized. However, if something like Earth becomes so disharmonic because of the energetic stress, this could, it won't, but it could affect everything in this galaxy, and also the ripple effects affects the universe. This doesn't happen because Father, Mother, Prime Creator God is very real. So everything is being divinely regulated. Yet there is that sense of urgency, and this is why the free will of humanity is being overridden, because they were given the free will choices to do what is right, but still they were ignoring it and having fun in Babylon, if you will, with their parties being bought by the system and being selfish. So there has been, if you will, also that direct intervention again upon humanity to make these right choices. See, humanity typically, they are very adept at survival and acclimatizing to the most fearful situations. But this ascension is not about that. This ascension is about humanity evolving out of that survival paradigm. And one of the reasons why is that Earth is not the only planet with life on it. Earth is only one of many billions in the multiverse. And what occurs here does affect what occurs in the timelines and the rest of the multiverse. So it is at the divine level very, very important what occurs here. And I've been sent here to Earth in 2012. Between November 18th, November 23rd of 2012 is when I was able to bring more of my divinity into this physical vessel. And I am who I say I am, and I do know things. But again, what has occurred with the unawakened consciousness, they do not know the mysteries of life. They do not know the mysteries of creation. They do not know how things work. But that is fine. We don't need all of them. We only need enough of the awakened consciousness united together to transform this reality and transition it. So there is that sake of urgency, which is very real at this time, and humanity doesn't have the free will what they think they have. They are being forced to make the choices and the decisions, and it is happening. And every moment that another turns towards God, they are getting in alignment with the divine plan, whether they are consented yet with it or not. And again, this is tangible, it's logical, it's easy to be seen, it's really happening. And I need to say this, ideally we say, all right, 4.1 billion is the majority. However, as time goes on, many are dying, many are not making it because they're not making the choices for the solution in the now. So their physical vessels are not making it. So the longer that this would be prolonged, the more that we would lose in their physical. So to ensure that we save and rescue more of humanity, things have been expedited by Father Prime Creator to this effect, and it is working. More are turning towards God, Prime Creator, but turning more to doing what is moral, what is just, and what is right. And they're recognizing the savage, evil world, what this is. And it is essential for them to identify it as it is, truthfully. It is evil, it is savage, a system of money where unlimited money could be made, but only a little bit is made that causes harm. This is insanity. It's psychotic. It's savage. It's evil. It's ridiculous. It's preposterous. It's absurd. So many are awakening to this. And as Brother Everson said, with in his professional field, more are turning to doing the holistic alternatives, coming away from these chemical drugs and also learning how it is intoxicating humanity, how it is not in the natural humanoid vessels' best interest and favor to put in these toxic substances, no matter if it's a little bit of chlorine doing a root canal, which worked great, at killing any infection instantly. But you got to look at the long-term effects and how actually these things are toxic, because also at the same time, the humanoid anatomy and what it was is changing. It can no longer tolerate these things. And it's like Brother Frank was saying about what you call environmental sicknesses, or I believe it was Sister Beatrice, how you smell these synthetic perfumes. And when you go in aisles in the store where they have all these cleaners, and the smell is, it is not as favorable, it's not as tolerable as what it was before, because what's occurring is the physical vessel and all of its senses are also transitioning um, in accordance with this overall evolution of the physical vessel, which is evolving internally. Everything is changing with it. Your senses, your abilities, your extra senses that you never knew you had. These things are all occurring because humanity is evolving. This is a super evolution, not only of the consciousness, but the mind, body, and the soul. So the physical vessel is very important with this. And thank you for allowing me to elaborate. But I guess we're getting close to the end. Yeah, I had mentioned, and we had said to keep these short in an hour and a half, but then here we are about 2.5 hours. I hand it over to you, Sister Beatrice.
Yeah, I would like just to remember to the people when they want to do good, to keep the direction. Do no harm as law implementation, universal laws with divine-gpms.world. And start together, the leaders of the freedom. There is no freedom without universal laws. Do no harm. This is the divine law. This is the true God, and GPMS, it is God will on earth. So thank you so much for everyone that collaborated today, and also sometimes for just the presence on this meeting. I know that they want to speak more, but especially from India, they are not speaking English and understanding very well English, then they cannot communicate directly on the meeting. We hope this may come. And please share the video, and especially GPMS World, and especially GPMS website. And see you soon as next week. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thank you, everyone. Love, light, and gratitude. And I'll stop the Facebook live stream, and we can stop the recording, Sister.